we're out at the range to talk about the new Masada from IWI. It's a 9mm striker fired pistol with a polymer fiberglass reinforced frame. I've gotten an awful lot of questions about the handgun. Now, in full disclosure, I've had one of the Masadas for several months. I got a pre-production gun. They made some changes to the final production gun, and that's kind of reflected a little bit in this ANR Design Holster, which is currently available. ANR Design is making holsters for the Masada. Even though there are some minor changes to the original design, it still works, but their new holsters will reflect the updated changes. But the Masada brings an affordable price to market in an already crowded striker fired 9mm field. So what does it really have to offer? I'm sure that's a question many of you have. So we're going to go over the handgun in this video, do some more shooting with it. Again, we've been shooting this handgun for an awful long time, and we're going to talk about it with and without an RMR mount. We ultimately do plan to gauntlet the non-RMR handgun. This one belongs to Copper, and this handgun will then be made available on the Copper website after we're done with our series of testing. So today we're just going to continue to put some ammo through the guns and have some more fun with them. We're running them pretty much dry. We've not lubricated the guns, either one of them, since we took them out of the box, and we've had 0 failures, which we'll demonstrate for you guys hopefully this afternoon. But if we catch a failure, we'll show you that too, and we'll talk about the features of the handgun. All right, so let's load up some magazines and start shooting. The Masada has some features that most folks are going to find attractive. Now, like I said in the opening of the video, this gun is coming to market in a very crowded field and kind of late to the game, so it's really going to have to step up its game to be competitive. Well, one way that they're doing that is the gun is well below $500 over at Copper. They're like 441 bucks or something like that. So the price on them right out of the gate is already really competitive and really good. So what do you get in the box? Well, in the box, you're going to get wraparound grip panels so you can adjust the grip to your size. There's 3 in total, 1 in the gun, 2 in the box. You'll get 2 17-round magazines. You'll get the pistol, which is already cut for an RMR or other optic, Delta Point, whatever. It'll be pre-cut for that, and it'll have mounting plates for the different red dot sights, the most popular, and of course, the pistol itself. Now let's talk about some of the features of the pistol. First of all, the gun is completely ambi-friendly. So you have a slide stop slide release on the right hand side of the pistol, right here by my index finger, and you'll find one on the opposite side as well. Takedown lever just on the left hand side of the pistol. No manual safeties. You have a mag release. It's on the right hand side, and unfortunately on the left hand side, and unfortunately on the right hand side as well. And I say that because I'm of the mindset that these should be reversible, not ambi. The only ambi ones I've seen that don't cause problems, it's like the HK style or the Walther style, where you have the mag release, which is a lever that kind of follows the contour of the trigger guard that you push down versus push in. And I say that because Mr. Guns and Gear is out here on the range shooting a popular brand pistol, and while he was firing, he kept having the magazines fall out of the gun. Why? Because it has a magazine release on the right hand side. Now, he fired this pistol as well and gave us some thoughts about it.
First rounds here through the IWI Masada. We'll see. Shoots flat. Trigger's decent. I mean, if it continues to run, can't be mad about it, especially at the price point.
But he did not have the problem with the magazine falling out. But the other issue you'll run into is how you choose your holsters. If you're carrying the handgun and it doesn't cover that mag release, when you sit down in a car or something bumps it, you can knock your magazine loose and I don't like that. When it's only on the strong side, be that left or right hand, your body protects that magazine release. So, all right, now the gun also has dovetailed front and rear sights. This one does not have tritium, but it has a big white dot rear sight here in the front and a big white dot in the front. So you have two white dots in the rear and one up in the front. Now, it is a Browning style action, and so the barrel hood fits nice and flush. The contours of the gun's nice and rounded. There's no right angles except over here on the rear, but even they're radiused a little bit. You might not be able to see that. The grip angle is very familiar to those of you that may shoot an M&P 2.0 or just an M&P or other handguns like that. Even a Glock, this will feel more familiar to you than something like a Sig P320, which has more of a vertical grip. This one sets nice and deep in the hand, and yeah, it has a very good feel to it. You'll also notice that it kind of tapers. It has kind of a beveled feel to the grip. Now, it does not have a flared mag well, but yeah, and again, this is polymer that's reinforced with resin. Now, we'll get into the disassembly here in a second, but let's fire off some Federal 130 grain Syntech ammunition, which is PCC ammo, so it's a little bit warmer. And this is from our friends over at Federal, and we'd like to thank them for supplying the ammunition to the channel. It really is a big help. So the pistol accepts a 17 round magazine. It's a windowed magazine, so you can see your 17 rounds. You can put an 18th round in the chamber. Rumor has it they will be releasing a compact version of this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and charge the weapon. You'll notice that the serrations are very deep and coarse, not overly done, but they give you a good feel so you can positively load the weapon, or if you're a slingshotter, do that as well. It'll be kind of hard to see, but when the extractor protrudes ever so slightly, there's a little bit of red there. Not very positive. You can kind of run your finger across the side and feel that the gun's loaded, but there's a little slight red indicator there, but not much to go on. Most of you guys are going to want to pull the slide back to the rear to see if the gun's loaded or not. All right, so let's shoot it here and show you what the recoil impulse looks like with the PCC ammo. All right, so the gun shoots nice and flat for me, and I really like the way that it feels. We'll take another 17 rounds of the PCC. Reloads are super simple. All right, so the next question becomes, how well does the gun cycle with hollow points? We have a couple different flavors out here. This is the XDEF from Freedom Munitions, and the reason we chose it, it's 124 grain jacketed hollow point with a big cavernous opening in the front. We have 15 rounds loaded. Let's see what the other one is. I want to make sure I got the right one. The XDEF, and we have some Remington Golden Sabres as well, which we'll fire here in a moment. All right, let's try these out. Cycled those just fine, so let's try these Golden Sabres. Again, 124 grain jacketed hollow points. All right, those were definitely warmer than the XDEFs, and still, again, the gun is very, very controllable. Let's do some more shooting with it, field strip it, and show you what's going on inside the pistol. Let's go ahead and disassemble the Masada pistol. If you've ever disassembled a polymer frame striker fired pistol before, nothing new here. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the magazine out of the gun, lock the slide to the rear, and make sure that the chamber is empty. Once you know that the chamber is empty, you're gonna go ahead and rotate the disassembly lever down, and then you will release the slide with the slide stop slide release, let it go forward, and when it's forward, go ahead and pull the trigger in a safe direction, and it'll come apart. On the lower half of the gun, much like the Sig P320 before it, the Masada has the ability to remove its metal internal trigger component. It's a complete housed group. You basically take, there's a detent you depress over here, slide your takedown lever out, and the whole trigger unit will slide out of the housing, including the serial number. So you will be able to put it into other polymer frames down the road when they become available. Other than that, it's just your standard fare with regards to a rather solid feeling, somewhere between HK stiffness and Glock softness, somewhere in between that spectrum, feeling polymer frame. All right. On the slide side, everything's steel except for the captive guide rod spring. That is polymer, much like a Glock, but it is captive. Here's that Browning action barrel, and this is a cold hammer forged barrel with polygonal rifling. And that's really it, guys. Here's your striker assembly back here, and it's a big open slide, easy to clean. Putting it back together is just the opposite. Go ahead and drop the barrel in. And you'll notice we're running the guns dry out here. We've not lubricated either of these pistols since we've been shooting them for a couple of months now, and the guns run just fine. Dropping that captive recoil spring in is very easy to do. Go ahead and line your slide up with the rails on the frame, draw it to the rear, drop that slide, the disassembly lever back into its locked position with the slide pulled all the way to the rear, and the gun is back together. So let's go ahead and talk about the box. What's in the box? Inside you're going to find your pistol, your mounting plates with the necessary hardware to mount them to the gun. That's for the red dot sights. Your 2 additional grip panels that are wraparound, a magazine here, and there will be a magazine in the gun for a total of 2 magazines, and a lock, and a manual which should be in the box, but perhaps I've misplaced the manuals for these pistols because I've had them long enough to do that, but it should come with a manual as well. So on the bottom side of the frame, we have a 1913 pick rail for accessories. This is a popular X300 light, and it's a heavy light. We'll do some shooting with it, but it'll lock into place, and that allows you to access the controls very easily as needed. And it should work with most popular lights. We've tried a couple of different ones, and they all seem to work. I haven't found anything that doesn't work. We have this Masada fully decked out. We have the RMR on top, and we have the X300 mounted to the accessory rail. So let's go ahead and prove that the gun works. I already know the answer, but I'll show you guys. Some more of the 130 grain Federal. Works just fine. The added weight of the light certainly helps with the recoil impulse. I will say that the recoil impulse on this perhaps is a bit more brisk, not severely more brisk, but a bit more brisk than say the M&P 2.0 or the Sig P320 or even the Glock 17. Now maybe that's because that's just my perception and it's not a reality, or IWI has purposely sprung this gun for reliability in harsh environments. I don't know, I can only speculate. All right, so let's talk about that trigger reset. I know a lot of you guys are going to ask that question. We measured the triggers on the guns, and they average right around 5 pounds, 5 ounces on the trigger pull. This is one thing that I would change about the gun as well, besides the AMB magazine release. The trigger, go ahead and make sure it's empty. The trigger brake occurs right here. So the trigger almost comes into contact with the trigger guard. Not very much travel at all. The reset though, right there, and that's full release. So you pretty much have to fully release the trigger. So that for me has caused me to stumble when I'm doing pairs. Every once in a while I don't fully release the trigger before I start to pull again, and I get a dead trigger. But I release my finger, pull it, and it will fire. So that in a nutshell explains how the gun shoots. and how it stacks up against the competition that's on the market in terms of shootability and ergonomics. This gun falls right in line, and I would say is a very stiff competitor to the big names already out there on the market like Smith & Wesson, Glock, and CZ, and all those guys. To kind of recap, the IWI Masada is a competitive pistol at the price point, less than 450 bucks. It brings everything to market that you would want out of a modern service pistol. They are talking about bringing out a compact version. Again, you can swap out the grip frame to a different color down the road, to a different size down the road. And so it has the modularity that the modern market has come to expect. It's also fully ambi. The only thing that I can really ding the handgun for, and this is a matter of personal preference, the slide stop occasionally lands in the wrong spot for me when I do my thumbs forward. I'll not lock the slide open because my thumb touches it. I have to make a conscious effort to wrap that right hand thumb over my left hand thumb so I don't have that happen. The other thing, trigger reset. I'm used to a slightly different trigger reset. This one requires you to almost fully release the trigger before you can pull it again. Again, personal preference. Functionally, we found nothing wrong with these guns, and we've fired lots and lots of ammo through them. So, my opinion, if you're in the market for a striker-fired handgun, you're looking for something a little bit different, this certainly would fit the bill. You're not going to find that it's lacking in any department, and you may actually find that you like it better than other guns as you've owned in the past. Only you can decide that. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, guys, the great way to do that is to become a Patreon supporter. There is a link down below. We don't take money from IWI or anybody else in the firearms industry. We are viewer supported. So if you'd like to join the Patreon family, link down below. Also, swing by and check out Copper Custom. And last but not least, we are Twitch gamers. Swap magazines out here. And if you'd like to join us on a live stream on Twitch, jump over on Patreon, become a Patreon supporter, send us your PSN network name, we'll add you as a friend, and you can join us on a live stream playing some games. All right, guys, thanks for 11 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon. She does shoot flat. Before the Masada, we had the Jericho. Now, this is a later production Jericho with a polymer frame, but it's a double-action, single-action pistol heavily influenced by the CZ75. And this was the primary handgun that was manufactured by IMI and IWI. It's still a really great little pistol to shoot. It's an enhanced CZ75, if you will. Yeah, very smooth shooting pistol. Yep. I like hammer-fired guns.